Shalom, dear friends. At the command from above and at the request of subscribers. Today on Shavuot, Jewish holiday, I want to explain to you the 70 sevens of the prophet Daniel. As there are many misunderstandings, disputes, many different interpretations and misconceptions, I will reveal to you age-old secrets today and show you how they came true. I will show you real calculations and the secret of God will be revealed to you. This will be a gift from me for the Shavuot holiday 2021. For as it is written in the book of the prophet Daniel, those who are wise will shine as bright as the sky, and those who turn many to righteousness will shine like the stars forever. But you, Daniel, keep this prophecy a secret. Seal up the book until the time of the end. Many will rush there and hear, and knowledge will increase. I heard what he said, but I did not understand what he meant. So I asked, how will all this finally end, my Lord? But he said, go now, Daniel, for what I have said is for the time of the end. Many will be purified, cleansed, and refined by these trials. But the wicked will continue in their wickedness, and none of them will understand. Only those who are wise will know what it means. Well, let's start. First of all, I would like to address my Jewish brothers, dear rabbis, dear sages of my people, sages of Israel, scribes and Pharisees, Talmudists, Hasidim, and anyone who reads the Holy Scripture. How did you not understand the prophet Daniel? The prophet Daniel gives a clear indication to the coming of the Messiah, the anointed sovereign, and here are the exact dates. Let's count. A period of 70 sets of 7 has been decreed for your people and your holy city to finish their rebellion. To finish their rebellion, to put an end to their sin, to atone for their guilt, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to confirm the prophetic vision, and to anoint the most holy place. Now listen and understand. 7 sets of 7 plus 62 sets of 7 will pass from the time the command is given to rebuild Jerusalem until a ruler, the Anointed One, comes. Jerusalem will be rebuilt with streets and strong defenses, despite the perilous times. After this period of 62 sets of 7, the Anointed One will be killed. Firstly, here it is indicated clearly to us that the prophet Daniel says that the Messiah will put to death, and the dates are indicated. Let's account. When was the decree on the restoration of Jerusalem? We have historical dates: 444 BC. Now we will add 62 plus 7 equals 69. 62 7 plus 7 sevens to make 69 sevens. 69 multiplies 7 equals 483. 69 times 7 gets 483. So, it was BC, so we take 483 minus 444 equals 39. For 183 minus 444 we get 39. 39 AD. Exactly in this time Lord Messiah came to Jerusalem. Most of the audience began to grind their cloaks on the road, others cut branches from trees, and also planted them. And in 40 AD he was put to death. The whole world knows about it. He was crucified by the Romans, betrayed by our chief priest at that time. And the Messiah dies, put to death, betrayed by the people, betrayed by my people. Dear Jews, the instructions came true, otherwise they could not come true. Dates are calculated clearly. I want to appeal to my brothers Christians. You say, how the Jews did not recognize, how they did not understand the prophet Daniel. Quote, dear Christians, you also did not understand what the prophet Daniel is talking about. So I will now explain to you, dear Christians. After this period of 62 sets of 7, the Anointed One will be killed, appearing to have accomplished nothing, and a ruler will arise whose armies will destroy the city and the temple. The end will come with a flood, and war and its miseries are decreed from that time to the very end. The ruler will make a treaty with the people for a period of 1 set of 7, but after half this time, he will put an end to the sacrifices and offerings. And as a climax to all his terrible deeds, he will set up a sacrilegious object that causes desecration, until the fate decreed for this defiler is finally poured out on him. Here many interpret incorrectly. Especially recently, this topic has become relevant, when we will see the last sevens. The last sevens began in the 1st century. Many people think, when the second half of the sevens will begin. Others think, what is the abomination of desolation? I somehow already released materials, but since many people are religious just like Jews, Christians, they stick to their traditions, and despite the explicit prophecies do not understand. Therefore, I said that the wise will understand. I am giving you a present today. I have already spoken about it, but people do not hear. Some people just heard my words and accepted it but did not understand the calculations until the end. Therefore, I will explain to everyone today, my gift for you. The ruler will make a treaty with the people for a period of 1 set of 7, but after half this time, he will put an end to the sacrifices and offerings. When did the sacrifice end? At the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. We know that the people of the Romans were attacked Jerusalem, destroyed the temple, destroyed the city, took the prisoners away. Since then Israel has been practically devastated. The Jewish people went to exile. That is, in half a week the sacrifice of the offering. And how about the abomination of desolation? He will set up a sacrilegious object that causes desecration. When this abomination of desolation was built, here are 2 periods from which you need to make calculations. Here it is necessary to count not from the year 70, but from the abomination of desolation. The ruler will make a treaty with the people for a period of 1 set of 7, but after half this time, he will put an end to the sacrifices and offerings. So, half of the week ended when the sacrifice stopped. Why did the sacrifice stop? Quote, because even at time of Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, then he came and at the time of his crucifixion, retook curses upon himself to give blessing to the nations and for the people of Israel. Thus, God proposed the New Testament for all nations, but first for the people of Israel. And when this was happening, the curtain in the Tempe service. But the temple still stood for some time, sacrifices were brought, but since there was no longer any need for them and God did both accept these sacrifices, and last sevens was given for the confirmation of the New Testament. The sacrifice stopped in 70 AD, about 30 years later, after Yeshua went to his and out Father to heaven. The history went on. The place was empty. The place of desolation was organized in 690 AD. On the place where the temple was built, mosque, Dome of the Rock. This building the prophet Daniel calls an abomination set in a holy place. An abomination placed in a holy place remains to this day. I will give you a gift, dates, so that you can see how accurate God is. So he was accurate with coming of the Messiah, with a solemn entry into Jerusalem as for the Jewish people in the city of Jerusalem. Let's take a look and open the prophet Daniel chapter 12. That is, it says that we are in the last time. But you, Daniel, keep this prophecy a secret. Seal up the book until the time of the end, when many will rush here and there, and knowledge will increase. Then I, Daniel, looked and saw two others standing on opposite banks of the river. One of them asked the man dressed in linen, who was now standing above the river, "How long will it be until these shocking events are over?" The man dressed in linen, who was standing above the river, raised both his hands toward heaven and took a solemn oath by the one who lives forever, saying, "It will go on for a time, times, and half a time. When the shattering of the holy people has finally come to an end, all these things will have happened. It is meant that it shall be for a time, times and a half time. It's 1260 days. To this we add the abomination of Resolution 690. 1260 plus 690 equals 1950. We get 1950. What happened? On 1950 January 23, the Knesset, Israel Parliament, proclaimed Jerusalem the capital of Israel. As accurately predicted for hundreds and thousands of years, from here we see history is changing. Some consider the restoration of Israel since 1948. Restoration of Jerusalem. No, we need to count it from the restraint of Israel 1950. At that time, many countries did not recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Many are still protesting, although more than 70 years have passed. Countries such as Russia, for example, do not recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. So, in 1950 the first prophecy according to Daniel about the time, times and a half. Read on, the next verses. We see how God is accurate, we see the fulfillment of prophecies, we see how real God is. Those who are wise will shine as bright as the sky, and those who lead many to righteousness will shine like the stars forever. It will go on for a time, times and half a time. When the shattering of the holy people has finally come to an end, all these things will have happened. I heard what he said, but I did not understand what he meant. So I asked, "How will all this finally end, my Lord?" But he said, "Go now, Daniel, for what I have said is kept secret and sealed until the time of the end. Many will be purified, cleansed, and refined by these trials. But the wicked will continue in their wickedness, and none of them will understand. Only those who are wise will know what it means. From the time the daily sacrifice is stopped and the sacrilegious object that causes desecration is set up to be worshipped, there will be 1,290 days. New date we add, 1290. 1290 plus 690 equals 1980. Only July 30th, 1980, the Knesset passed a law declaring United Jerusalem as the eternal and indivisible capital of Israel. Again for Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the center, is not just Israel. Many people from Christian ideology believed that a third temple should be built. that the Antichrist will set there and it will be considered an abomination of desolation. Not standing abomination, it stands already. This is a mosque of 690. 690 plus 1290 equals 1980. To this day Israel's enemies want to divide Jerusalem and give part to the Palestinians. An invented nation, an invented people. This is a lie and a pledge against the Jewish people, against Israel, against Jerusalem. Therefore, in 1980, the Knesset meets again and announces that Jerusalem is the eternal and indivisible capital of Israel. Interesting. Yes, you want further proof? And blessed are those who wait and remain until the end of the 1335 days. 1335 plus 690 equals 2025. And blessed are those who wait and remain until the end of the 1335 days. As for you, go your way until the end. You will rest, and then at the end of the days, you will rise again to receive the inheritance set aside for you. Here are interesting dates. Blessed is who awaits and reaches this time. Who is it for? For Christians? No, for Jews. End date 2025. Now we turn to the book of Revelation. When will the second half of the week begin? This is everything, it's very simple. We subtract 2025 to 3. 5 years and we get 2021. 2021 and a half. Dear friends, there can be no doubt, we are on the verge of the second part of the week. We are already smoothly entering it. Rapture will occur at any moment. Rapture will occur at any moment. Only 5 years left for Israel. Already, as I predicted, in 2021 on the day of Jerusalem, the war began. I also showed it to you. We are on the right track. God's prophecies are coming true. Let the fear of God and the joy of the Lord fill you. Behold God's plans. May the name of the God of Israel be glorified and exalted. Come Yeshua HaMashiach, Bo Machiach Bo, Maranatha, Amen.